The early morning sun had just begun its ascent over the horizon, casting a crimson hue across the deserted street. But the light seemed to falter, hesitant to reveal what lay ahead. Bre'Yanna's mother approached the cluster of officers who surrounded the smashed hydrant, her steps measured. The street was awash with water and debris. The only sounds came from the distant conversation between policewomen and the occasional clatter of equipment. With each step closer, she could feel her heart pounding louder in her chest as if trying to break free. Her eyes locked onto where her daughter's lifeless body lay next to the crushed car. A gasp escaped from her trembling lips, followed by a sob that echoed through the lonely street. Tears streamed down her face like rainfall, hot with anger and pain. She stumbled toward Bre'Yanna, struggling to stay upright on rocks jutting out of the shallow pool beneath her feet. Despite this struggle, she reached Bre'Yanna's side at last. Kneeling down beside her daughter's still form, she touched her icy skin with hands that shook. The night had been one of terror and chaos, a roller coaster ride ending in tragedy. Bre'Yanna's family was driving away from their nightmare when their vehicle crashed into a fire hydrant, flooding the area with water. Now, here was their beloved daughter lying lifeless before them. Bre'Yanna's mother fell to the ground, her cries of anguish echoing through the empty street. She didn't care about the LAPD taking photos or collecting evidence. Nothing else mattered at that moment. Her baby girl was gone. The rising sun cast a putrid yellow hue over the scene, as if even nature mourned with them. Daylight revealed the carnage left behind by the black SUV, leaving justice to be served. The car had skidded to a stop after hitting a fire hydrant, causing water to gush out onto the street. They trapped the family as bullets rained down upon them, shooting Bre'Yanna to death. Although they made frantic efforts to revive her, they couldn't save her. Bre'Yanna's mother gazed at the sky as the rain began to fall and mix with tears on her face, observing an answer from God. "Why my baby?" she screamed into the world. Silence was her only response. With a deep sigh, her mother rose from her knees and surveyed the scene before her. The police officers stood around her like soldiers hanging their heads in defeat. "Justice must be done," she murmured, more to herself than anyone else. But she knew deep down that nothing could undo what had been done. The tragedy would forever haunt them. Bre'Yanna's mother returned to the location where she had just lost her daughter. The ground was still stained with her daughter's dried blood, but the sun and pavement were already beginning to erase any trace of it. But no amount of heat or scrubbing would take away her grief, her pain. She walked away with her head held high, determined that Bre'Yanna's death would not be in vain. Justice must be served. The secret mission began gathering information on the tragedy from all sources: street cameras, CCTV footage, and people close to the victim. No detail was too small. Each clue brought them closer to finding the perpetrator. Then, one day, came a critical piece of evidence, a description of another vehicle racing down Slauson Avenue with its lights off, hinting at its possible involvement in Bre'Yanna's accident. Authorities are still investigating the slaying, and what they know now is that the shooter's vehicle was heading westbound on Slauson Avenue from Western Avenue and stopped at St. Andrew's Place and Slauson. Bailey left behind 3 children, ages 3, 5, and 9, according to family members speaking to local media. Bre'Yanna left our world too soon, but her memory will be cherished in the hearts of her family forever. The people who watched Bre'Yanna's life end that night still remember the terrible sight. Every measured detail, from witness interviews to inspection of evidence, exposes a darker and more sinister truth, one that brings fear and anger to this community. But even in such sorrow, hope lingers, keeping faith alive that justice will prevail. Be a part of justice, and fight against wrongful death. If you have any intel on Bre'Yanna's murder, please contact the Los Angeles Police Detectives Fraga, badge number 38989, or Ibanez, badge number 40999. Call 323-786-5113 now to help in the investigation. Remember, when the world is dark, you have to be a shining light. The power of God is in you. Be loved, be blessed, and stay safe, y'all.
Did not deserve it. Did not deserve this. A mother of 3 beautiful children, auntie, daughter.
Now at 11, a senseless shooting in South LA. It leaves a young mother of 3 dead. And welcome everyone to CBS 2 News at 11 and streaming on CBS News Los Angeles. I'm Chris Holmstrom. Well, this morning, that woman's family is calling it a case of mistaken identity. Let's go straight to CBS 2's Tina Patel live in South LA, where she spoke with this heartbroken family. I can only imagine what that mother's going through, Tina.
Yeah, so tough for the entire family. They left just a short time ago when police finally cleared the crime scene that was here around this fire station. They are hoping that police will be able to solve this crime and find out who did this, leaving what they say was an innocent woman dead.
This is like a nightmare. A nightmare.
Katrina Taylor keeps hoping she'll wake up and her cousin Bre'Yanna Bailey will still be alive. Police say Bailey, a 30-year-old mother of 3, was riding in an SUV with 2 other women last night when someone in a sedan drove up and opened fire on them.
They said that somebody, chased them down. You know, and she's innocent. She's innocent.
Taylor doesn't think Bailey was the intended target of the shooting, but she's the one who was hit. Shortly after, the driver of the SUV crashed into a fire hydrant outside a fire station on Slauson Avenue. Firefighters quickly responded, pulling Bailey out of the backseat and trying to treat her gunshot wounds, but she did not survive.
I don't understand, How could a person just shoot into a vehicle and you don't even know who you're shooting? You don't even know who you're shooting.
Police are investigating, but they still don't have any information about the possible suspect or who they might have been targeting. Taylor wants answers, but she also wants these kinds of crimes to stop happening in her neighborhood.
For foolishness, from gang banging to domestic violence and all of this, what is it worth for us to continue to kill ourselves? It's self-demise, It's self-demise. It needs to stop.
Now, Bailey's family is hoping whoever did this will turn themselves in or that someone out there saw something and can help police identify the shooter. Right now, police say they do not have a good description of the car that was involved.